your problem isn't motivation, it's negotiation. Discipline isn't built by willpower. It's built in the split second when you stop negotiating yourself. That's the moment that decides whether today moves you forward or it costs you momentum. And every time you delay, you're teaching yourself hesitation. And that hesitation is what kills consistency. But here's what most people don't realize. Hesitation doesn't just steal time. It rewires your entire confidence system. Every time you stall, your brain learns that your feelings are the boss, and that's how you wind up stuck in some loop. You might start strong, find yourself slipping, and then you're beating yourself up for losing the rhythm again. So it's not that you don't know what to do, it's that you've practiced the pause so many times that it's become your habit. Everybody talks about motivation like it's a feeling that you chase. But the truth is, it's just a reflex you train. Kyla said that she'd been having these incredible days, the kind that make you think you probably cracked the code. Some mornings she'd wake up early, she'd grab a cup of coffee, she'd have some music low, and she'd find herself in a groove where you feel unstoppable way before the rest of the world even wakes up. She had her call list ready, she had her notes tight, sunlight was peeking through her office window. And you know the type of day where you're just on. And when I talked to her, I could hear it in her voice. She was super confident. She was steady. She's upbeat. And from her admission to me, every call that she made had a purpose. Every conversation she had landed. And basically, by the end of the day, her whole checklist was just everything was checked off. And she would text me like, "Hey, Jay, I crushed it today." And the truth was, she really had. The problem was, maybe not the next morning, maybe she kept it going for 3 mornings, but eventually she'd wake up to a whole different story. She'd wake up slow. Maybe she checks one notification on her phone, and that kind of leads her to Instagram. It gets her. And then she tells herself, all right, I'll get to the stuff I got to do after lunch. But then lunch comes and goes, and lunch turns to 4 p.m. And by now, it's guilt city for the rest of the night because 4 p.m. came and went, and you felt like, do you know that gut punching moment where you realize you just let the whole day slip away from you? So she kept asking me, and I heard her say this to me more than once. Why can't I stay consistent? And when we talked, she would say it in a way that was not really complaining. It was just sort of quiet. I just wish I could stay consistent. But I heard what she really meant. And what she really meant was I keep negotiating with myself and losing. She thought it was a motivation problem. She read way more books. She always tried new routines. She brought all these fancy productivity journals. I have some of them myself, right? She had all types of affirmations on sticky notes everywhere, right? Caffeine in the afternoon, motivational clips, rewriting her goals all the times. The work, she's doing it all. But the pattern stayed the same. A few days of killing it, and all of a sudden, a crash. And that flicker of hesitation right before doing something that mattered would always slow her down. So when we got on a call, I could hear the frustration. And again, it wasn't loud. It wasn't a complaint. It was just tired. It's the kind of tired that comes from trying everything, but still ending up in the same loop. So I told her, hey, Kayla, your problem isn't motivation. It's negotiation. And I just asked her to notice the exact second that she felt the hesitation. You know, that flicker between when you know what you need to do and hesitation? I asked her to move before her brain could begin to bark. And she laughed at me, kind of like side on me. Oh, really? I'm paying you for this? That's your big secret? And I said, yeah. You don't need a new system. You just need to end the debate in your mind faster. So she tried it. And eventually I got a text where she said she felt the pull to grab her phone and sort of start scrolling, as always, in Instagram, but she started to catch it. And she literally says out loud, nope, not today. And she just moves into the thing that she was doing. She takes a breath, she makes her first call, she sends the email, she makes the offer, whatever it is. She does it whether she's ready to do it or she wants to do it or not. She just does it anyway. And in those cases, one call would turn into 2 and 2 turns into 8. She actually texted me once and she said, hey, Jay, as I was about to grab my phone and scroll, I heard your voice in my head and I made one call instead. And that call turned into 8. There was nothing about her entire setup that changed. It's not the desk, it's not the phone, it wasn't the list. The only thing that changed was her speed between what was in her brain and when she took action. And that was the breakthrough. She realized that consistency is not about staying hyped. She realized motivation isn't about staying hyped. It's about ending the negotiation in your head faster. Confidence didn't show up first. It showed up after she started moving and making a decision to move. And she proved it to herself in real time. Now, every time she feels that pause or that pull to delay or negotiate, she kind of laughs because she knows what it means. That's her cue to take action. So she stopped waiting for motivation and she started retraining her reflexes. If you've ever been in that same place, you're fired up one day, you're falling flat the next, then you know how fast that loop can really mess with your head. You start thinking something's wrong with you, but it's not motivation that's broken. It's the moment between the decision and the action. So here's the same framework that I gave Kayla, and it works. You can use it as you want. The first thing you want to do is you got to catch the pause. That second you hesitate, that split second when your brain starts offering you excuses and better alternatives, that's the moment. That is the precise moment you need to act. You know what I'm talking about. It's the moment you open your CRM, you see all those leads, and somehow your thumb, it's like muscle memory, is going towards Instagram. And you tell yourself, I'm going to make those calls or I'm going to send that email after I grab a snack. In that tiny moment, that's the pause. So here's the trick. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage you. It's really just trying to protect you. And it's some old wiring, and you probably heard this before. It's like caveman level stuff. It's meant to keep you safe from lions. But in business, that pause doesn't protect you, man. It paralyzes you. This is where Mel Robbins, her 5-second rule, this is where it's so on point. You can count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, blast off, move. And that's where you train yourself to move before your brain has a committee meeting offering you excuses. So don't overthink it. Don't check if the lighting's perfect or if you feel right. Like, just interrupt the hesitation and go. Even now, I still use this rule. Before I made this video, my lighting's not on the way it normally is, but I just said, let's do it. Let's make this video. I don't have this perfectly scripted out. My hair isn't cut. I threw on a hat, hit play and went. I do it before a workout, before I got to make a tough call, before I even post content. I just say what needs to be done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move, blast off, let's go. It's really simple. I count down and I move before my brain even has a vote. So that's number 2. Move before the bargain. Once you catch that pause, do not let it drag you into a debate or a negotiation. You've got to move. The action doesn't have to be some massive thing. It just has to be immediate, right now. And if you need to make 10 calls, the first step is make 1. If you need to write a proposal, just open the document. If you got to film a video, hit record like I did before you fix your lighting and make everything perfect. Because here's what happens. Once motion starts, the motivation follows. You don't act because you're motivated. You get motivated because you acted. So every time you choose motion over negotiation, you're teaching your body and your mind that action is safe and it's normal. And that's how you're going to retrain your reflexes to take action. Number 3 is track your recovery speed. This is really important. You don't measure consistency by perfect streaks. And that's where people mess themselves up. Nobody's perfect. You measure it by how fast you restart after a slip. So you missed your morning calls. Okay, cool. Catch the afternoon ones. You skipped posting today? All right. Post now. Post tonight. You got distracted? All right. Reset and finish the next task. You got to think about it like basketball. The best shooters are not the ones who never miss. They're the ones who get the next pass and put it up without thinking. They call it unconscious. That's what real consistency looks like. I don't care if it's follow-up. I don't care if it's marketing. I don't care if it's in your leadership. The speed of recovery is everything. And the faster that you reset, the less power you give to hesitation. Because every time you delay, you're practicing hesitation. But every time you move in that split second in that space, you're training your power. You're training yourself to act. And every time you catch that pause and that negotiation faster, you're rebuilding trust in yourself. Once reflexes are stronger than your feelings, that's when consistency is going to become effortless. That's what Kayla learned. She stopped waiting for motivation and she started retraining her reflex. And that's exactly what you can start doing today. I'm Jay Malloy. Be well.